everyone, welcome. I think we're live, I think we're good. My name is Richard. This is a 75-minute all levels vinyasa practice. Today we're going to be focusing quite a bit on your hips. We're also going to focus on some side bending, creating some space through the side body, some glute work, and of course a little bit of core work and maybe some fun little arm balances. So know that today you're going to want to have a strap or some kind of belt or anything to use that you can put around your foot. You also want to have 2 blocks, and if you don't have 2 blocks, 2 pieces of Tupperware, 2 big water bottles, whatever you can use. Get creative. All right, let's find our way onto our backs. Go ahead and lay on down. And as you lay on down, go ahead and bend your knees, bringing your feet to the floor. Take your feet slightly wider than your hips. Let your knees roll in towards one another. And wiggle the shoulder blades a little bit further down the back. And if you do have your strap close by because we're going to use it in the beginning. And soften the shoulders, closing the eyes if you feel comfortable, if not, just having a steady gaze on the ceiling. And really just taking the first few breaths to arrive. Noticing how you are today. Noticing your mind, your breath, any struggles you might be going through. And remembering that many of us struggle, many of us go through things. I think struggling through something, whether it's an injury or a personal matter, it makes us stronger. It teaches us what we need, how to be honest, how to be clear. Guiding your palms to heart center. Taking a moment today to set an intention for your practice, one that's honest, one that honors your body, or your mind, or wherever you're at in your life right now. Not where you're going, but where you are now. And taking a full inhale through your nose. And let all the breath go out of the mouth. Almost like you're sighing. Do that twice more. Steady inhale. Open mouth exhale. And one more. And letting all the breath go. Bend the elbows out wide. And sealing the lips, shifting into Ujjayi, making that same audible sound, inhaling through the nose. Short pause at the top. And steady exhale through the nose. And just notice what it feels like to get empty, to get all the breath out. And again, inhaling slowly. And exhaling through the nose. And just starting to find your rhythm, your cadence. Trying to smooth out your breath. Trying to get a little bit more rhythmic. Keep your feet wide, roll your knees over to the left. If you're dealing with any low back issues or anything going on with your sacrum, you might stack your thighs instead or take a block between your knees. If not staying here, you might guide your left ankle on top of your right knee. Let your knees reach out away from you. Feel the spine heavy. One more full inhale. And exhale, release the ankle. Roll the knees up and over to the second side. And same thing, your body's heavy. You can stack the thighs or take the right ankle on top of the left knee or just keep it as it is. Some days we need more, some days we need less. Just notice your body today. And finding your way back to center, roll the knees up and go ahead and draw the knees in towards the chest. And as you draw the knees in, really rounding through the spine, lift the shoulder blades, lift the chest. Take one more big inhale. And then on the exhale, go ahead and bring your left foot to the floor. We'll keep the knee bent and hug the right knee in. And just notice how far that knee actually comes in. Take a big inhale. And then on the exhale, take the knee just slightly wider. So it's going to move on the diagonal. And just notice how it gets a lot easier to find hip flexion. It gets a lot easier to draw that thigh further up. And take a big inhale and switch. Bring the right foot down, hug the left knee in. Feel free to interlace your fingers over that shin. And can you also tell that when you really try to hug the knee in, that if you go really far, the low back pushes into the floor, the tailbone might even tuck away from the mat? Just observe that. And push the knee into your hands just a little bit. Take a big inhale, notice the low back. And then exhale, take the knee slightly wider and just notice the difference. And let's go ahead and release. Bring your left foot back down to the floor, hug the right knee back in, and then go ahead and guide your right knee right over your right hip. So we're going to do some little circles here. You can choose, keep your left foot on the floor or extend your left leg to straight. but you're basically trying to keep your spine pretty even. You're really just moving your legs. So imagine there was a Sharpie on your knee and you're just tracing circles on the ceiling. Start from small circles, and with every circle, make it a little bit bigger. And if you get to a place where it feels like it's too much, it's probably too much. Maybe back off a little bit. Less is more. It's only the beginning. And then let's do the opposite now. So pause and go from bigger circles to smaller circles. And try not to rush and just observe your mind. And some days it feels like we're rushing to do everything. Can you slow down? And you focus on the breath, that right hip, the knee, what it feels like to do this movement, however simple or difficult it is. And bring the foot down. Let's come back to the second side. So you draw the knee, and again, you can have your right foot on the floor, right leg straight. Again, bring the knee right over the hip. And we're just going to do that again. Small circles to big circles. Circle leaning out to start. If you did it the opposite way, it's not a big deal. And again, just observe. If you take the knee too far into the chest, does the low back try to do some of the work? And you feel that's maybe a little bit of core work. And then do the opposite. Go from big circles to smaller circles. So starting off nice and slow today, and then we will build. We always do. All right, come back to the first side. Hug the right knee in. Using your strap now, go ahead and take the strap over the ball of the foot. If you don't have a strap, you can use your hand, right? Or a towel. Push that thigh forward in space. You're pushing the thigh towards the front of your mat. Notice how it intensifies maybe the stretch on the hamstring. And then draw the strap back towards you, even as you push your right thigh forward to the front of the mat. Soften your left thigh down into the floor. Take a big inhale. Bring the strap into the right hand. On the exhale, we're going to bend the right knee. Bring your right leg into happy baby. So the knee's going to come out to the side. The foot's pushing up to the ceiling. And then feel your right hip. Notice if you've kind of rolled towards that right hip. Can you push your left thigh, your hip down into the floor? And notice how your core might have also kind of rolled to the left. Take a big inhale here. Stretch your left arm out to the left. And then resting that arm on the floor, on the exhale, roll to your left side body. You could keep the knee bent, or you can straighten the leg, extend that foot towards that hand. And the leg might be higher, it might be lower. Roll to your back. Rebend the knee into that half happy baby. And let's do that 4 more times. Rolling, foot reaching towards hand, it may not touch, roll to your back. So we're never judging our efforts. We're just becoming a witness in our practice, tuning into the body, paying attention, trying to understand how we can be better to ourselves, how we can be better to our neighbors, our loved ones. It all starts with you. And roll to your back, rebend the knee once more. And then go ahead and straighten the leg, big inhale, and exhale, switch the feet. So let's do that same thing. Extend the right leg long, stretching the left hamstring, push the thigh, the top of the thigh where the thigh and hip meet forward in space, even as you draw back with the strap. And again, observing, so really practicing ahimsa, can you observe the difference from side to side? And ahimsa is nonviolence. Can you observe the difference from side to side without having to judge your body? Without trying to make it perfect. Right, take a big inhale, bring the strap into the left hand. And then exhale, bend your left knee, bring the knee out on diagonal. So it's like it's moving towards your armpit, your shoulder. And then anchor your right thigh down onto the floor. Big inhale. Stretch your right arm out towards the right wall, bringing the hand to the floor. And then exhale, roll to your right side body, bringing that foot in the direction of the hand. And again, it may not come close, and that's okay. Roll to your back, bend the knee, and let's do that 4 more times. 4, 3, 2, 1. Find your way to your back, rebend the knee, and straighten the leg, coming back into the hamstring stretch. And then let's ditch the strap. Place the strap on the side, hug both knees in, and take both knees wide. Hands on the shins or hands to the outer edges of the feet. Happy baby. And then draw the shoulder blades down the back into the mat. Soften the neck. Full inhale. And exhale, curl the knees into the chest, around the spine. Begin to rock your weight forward and back as many times as you'd like. making your way to all fours, hands and knees. And so as you find your way to hands and knees, go ahead and feel free to take the palms slightly forward in front of the shoulders today. Spread the fingers evenly, and then push into the mat. And feel how the arms engage. Can you wrap your elbows in so the eye of the elbow or the elbow crease kind of turns to face forward, and then recommit to pushing into the inner palms. Hugging your wrists in towards one another, hugging your forearms into one another. Big inhale, let's arch the spine. So you're going to scoop up the chest, making the back bend. Gently draw the shoulder blades together and down the back. And then exhale, doming around the spine. Try to get all the breath out. And again, big inhale. And exhaling, doming and rounding. And if it's comfortable, allow yourself to close the eyes. Just do it a few more times. No specific count, no specific speed. Just paying attention to the spine. Notice what feels awake, what feels sleepy, what needs attention. Every practice is an opportunity to greet your body as it is. And last one. And beginning to find a neutral spine, so somewhere in between. We're going to do some more hip work. So keeping your hands on the floor, push through the palms, take a big inhale, lengthen the spine. On the exhale, I want you to really try to keep your spine the same. Like, hug your left knee in towards your chest, and keeping your spine the same, keeping your hips the same. You may not be able to draw that knee in as close as you want it to. Take a big inhale, push the thigh out away from you, try to keep your hips even. And then exhale, push the knee up and back so you can feel the thighs hugging into center. Can you keep your navel lifting up and away from the floor? Exhale, draw the knee towards the chest. Again, it's not going to come all the way in. Push the thigh out, roll it back in. Draw the knee into the chest. Let's just do that 3 more times. If you want to intensify, take a block beneath your pelvis, or beneath your pelvis, behind your pelvis, and try to keep it flat the whole time. And if you got some more cushion down there, it may not be perfectly flat. That's okay. Last one. And then do it the other way 3 times. Push the knee back, roll the knee out, draw it in towards the chest, push it back. And second side. So again, keeping your spine pretty even, keeping your pelvis pretty neutral. Draw the right knee in towards the chest. It might be a few inches, it might be all the way in. Push the knee out away from you. And then draw the knee in and up. Draw it back into the chest. And again. Probably last 2. Try not to rush. Rushing won't make it go by any faster. And then do it the other way 3 times. Push the knee back. Draw it out. Circle it into the chest. Push it back. Draw it out. Into the chest. Last one. And releasing. Probably feeling your hips are nice and warm now. All right. Taking a big inhale. Tuck your toes. Ground your palms. On the exhale, hover the knees 2 to 3 inches. So same work you were just doing. Try to keep your spine pretty even. Try to keep your navel gently lifting. See if you can float your left foot away from the floor. Nice. Set it down. Float the right foot away from the floor. Set it down. Float your left hand away from the floor. Set it down. Right hand. Set it down. Can you do left hand, right foot? Just try. Set it down. Right hand, left foot. And maybe just 2 more times for good measure. Left hand, right foot. Right hand, left foot. Left hand, right foot. Right hand, left foot. If you want to do it 1 more time, please do. If not, come right into downward facing dog. And feel free to take your feet as wide as your mat. Try to root both the front and the back of the foot so you can always bring the feet closer to the hands. And then pushing through the inner palms. Push the mat away from you and then try to draw your hips up and away from the hands. Soften your toes. Let your neck be long. 1 more breath. And then exhale, go ahead and walk the feet a little bit closer together. We'll say now the width of the mat. And then rooting into your hands, especially that left hand. Slide your right hand down the mat towards your left foot. Maybe grab the outer ankle, the outer thigh, and push the mat away from you. Draw your hips up and back. Big inhale. Try to draw that right shoulder blade down the back, just gently. And exhale, release, and let's do the second side. So rooting into your right hand, slide the left hand down the mat. You might just slide your hand towards your foot. You might take it outside the ankle or the thigh, twisting and pushing the thighs up and back. And inhale, release, extend your left hand forward, downward facing dog. Exhale, slowly walk your hands back to your feet, folding at the back of your mat. And then bending your knees generously, drape the torso over your thighs. Try to lift your sit bones up and away from the floor. And next inhale, taking the hands to the shins, straighten the arms, reach your chest forward, lengthening the spine. And exhale, fold, forward fold, Uttanasana. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, folding. Wiggle the feet slightly closer together. And then inhale, walk your hands forward, plank pose. Take one more full inhale. And exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Rooting through the inner palms. Try to keep drawing your hips up and away from the floor. If you find your hamstrings are really tight, a soft bend to the knees is always helpful. Again, really try to lift the pelvis up and back. And then can you lift the navel up and in? Take a big inhale. Shift forward, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Just 3 more times. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale to down dog. We'll pause and plank this time. Inhale, roll forward to plank. Exhale, shift past the wrist. You can always set your knees down for the first one. Chaturanga Dandasana all the way to the floor. And then wiggle the hands back so you can feel that the wrist or the palms are truly beneath the elbows. If the wrists are a little bit achy, just take the hands wider, maybe cup the palms to start. Rooting into the toenails. Inhale, scoop your chest up, reaching it forward. Try to glide the shoulder blades down the back, towards the hips. And exhale, release. Again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale, scooping up. Shoulder heads roll back, wide collarbones, chest. And exhale, release, gentle lift of the navel. Let's do 2 more for good measure. Inhale, scooping up, maybe a little bit higher, cobra. Exhale, release. If you're ready, you can always do up dog. If not, stay with cobra for now. Inhale, scooping up. As you come back down, retuck your toes, lift your navel, push your hips up and back to downward facing dog through plank or all fours. And feel free to pedal the feet in as you find downward facing dog. Bend the left knee, rooting the right heel down. Try to keep pushing the hips up and back. And switch. Maybe 2 more times. And bending both knees, look forward, big inhale. At the very end of the exhale, you might step or float, top of the mat. Taking a big inhale here, lengthen the spine, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold, forward, fold, Uttanasana. Inhaling, root to rise, root into the feet, soften the toes, swooping the arms up and over. Exhale, bringing the palms to heart center, saluting your intention, Anjali Mudra. And then inhale, swooping the arms up and over. Exhale, fold it all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Root to rise, big inhale, swooping the arms up and over. Exhale, palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. If you're comfortable with it, close your eyes. We're going to keep it simple. Inhale, swoop the arms up and over. Feel the breath. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Worry less about what it looks like, really feel the breath. Inhale, root to rise. Exhale, palms to heart center. Again, inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, folding. Root to rise, big inhale. Exhale, palms to heart center, gazing over the fingertips. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over, we'll add on. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, root your fingertips, step the left foot back into a lunge and pause. Pushing into the fingertips or pushing into your blocks, reach your chest forward, big inhale. On the exhale, draw the shoulder blades back towards the hips. And does that help you find more lift and length in the front of the body? Does that help you lengthen your chest forward? Take a big inhale. Try to hug the feet in towards one another. And then exhale, set your back knee down to the mat. On the inhale, let's rise up, low lunge. Bring the arms up and overhead. And then again, on the exhale, cinch your legs. Can you try to draw that left shin, that knee forward in space? Can you imagine you could drag that right heel back toward your left knee? Try to find it here, that kind of isometric action. And then notice your hips and what they did. Can you hug the hips in towards one another, in towards the midline? Reach the arms up and over, big inhale. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and bring your right forearm down toward your right thigh. Reach the left hand up and over to the right. Try to keep working the legs. And then inhale, rise up, take both arms high. Hook your thumb, spread the fingers evenly. Let's do that same thing. Reach up and over to the right. Feel the outer right hip drawing back and into center. And then inhale, rise up, both arms high. Exhale, twist open to the right. So right hand back, left hand forward. Try to soften the shoulder blades down the back. Even spinning the palms up if it's approachable. Take a big inhale. And exhale, set your left hand down inside that right foot. Again, draw that left shoulder blade down the back, tucking the back toes, lift the back thigh. So it's an optional thing. You can always keep the back knee down. Continue to bend into that front knee. Keep lifting the left thigh. Last full inhale. And exhale, set your right hand down. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Forward fold. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, step the right foot back. Same thing, second side. So you're on the ball of the foot to start. Root into the fingertips. I'll demo with blocks this time. And instead of thinking about your shoulder blades this time, think about your fingers or your hands. And you feel like you could drag your hands back towards your right foot. Notice how the shoulder blades may have also moved back. Reach your chest forward, lift your navel. Big inhale. And exhale, set the back knee down to the mat. Again, let's rise up, low lunge, arms overhead. And then feel the legs. Can you turn on the glutes? Some things that help, pushing into the right toes, drawing that right thigh forward in space. And again, sensing that left foot, stamp the heel down. Can you drag the heel back? Can you draw that outer left hip back and into center? Add the arms, big inhale. And then exhale, bring your left forearm to your left thigh, reach up and over with the right hand. Really breathing into that right side body. You got one more breath. And then inhale, take both arms high. Hook your thumbs, maybe opposite thumb over this time, spreading the fingers evenly. And try to just gently roll your outer arms forward in space. Feel that kind of gripping into the armpits, into the side ribs. Big inhale, and reach up and over to the left. And even as you reach, you maintain the lift of your left side body. Can you maintain the work of the legs? Inhale, come back to center, both arms high. Exhale, twist open to your left. Try to spin the palms up to the ceiling. Take one more full inhale. Notice your shoulder blades here. And exhale, set the right hand down to the mat beneath the right shoulder. Pushing down through the right hand, reaching up to the left side body. Big inhale. Maybe tucking the back toes, lifting the back thigh. One more breath. And set the hand down. Step the right foot to meet the left foot. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway, long spine. Exhale, fold. Inhaling, root to rise. Swoop the arms up and over. Exhale, palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Let's continue. Inhale, sweeping the arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen, lift halfway. Moving through Surya A. Ground your palms. Step the feet back for plank. Take a big inhale. Shift past your wrist. Chaturanga. Again, you can always bring your knees down. And then untucking the toes. Push it down through the hands. Lift the chest. Try to draw the shoulder heads back. And then hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Give yourself 3 breaths here. Come back to your Ujjayi. Should be feeling a little bit more warmed up now. And just for visual purposes, we'll do this side. We'll start with the left. Take a big inhale, lift your left leg up and back. And then don't worry about how high the leg goes. Can you have the leg high enough that you can see your toes without cranking your chin to your chest? So your ears are lining up with the inner upper arms. The arms are long. Sense your right hip out, a soft bend to the right knee. Can you draw your right hip back and in? Can you hug it into center? Big inhale, bend your left knee. And then exhale, we did this earlier, just make some big circles with that knee. So draw the knee in towards the belly, roll the knee out, circling it up to the ceiling, drawing it back in. Do that maybe 2 more times. It can be slower or faster. You are working the shoulders here as well. And then do the opposite. And then re-extend the leg and hug the knee into the chest, step the foot through the hands. Take a big inhale here, lengthen heart center forward in space. Again, draw the shoulder blades back if you can. And exhale, set the back knee down to the mat. Inhale, rise up, low lunge. Exhale, bring the palms to heart center. Keeping the palms at heart center, reach out to the elbows by pushing the palms into one another. Big inhale. And then without moving the hands, exhale, twist to the left, sense your core. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist. Inhale to come to center. Notice your hips, notice your spine. Exhale, twist. Last 2. And exhale, twisting. Inhale, moving to center. Exhale, twist. This time, extend the arms out wide. Take a big inhale. Again, spin the palms up. Feel how the elbows roll forward. Exhale, set your right hand down to the mat. Keep pushing away with the arms. Take a big inhale. Exhale, tuck the back toes. Now we're going to add on from here. Start to wiggle your left foot down the mat. Turn the toes out. If your hip is pretty open, you should be able to move on to the outer edge of the back foot from here. If not, wiggle the foot down until the foot is maybe halfway down the mat. So this is a modified side plank. We're going to do this just 3 times today. So we're going to bring the outer right hip down to hover. Reach your left hand back. Try to keep your chest lifting. You're still pushing down through that right hand. And then on the exhale, lift using your right side body. Extend the left arm up and overhead. Let's just do it twice more. Come down, lift up. Come down, lift up. And then staying here, we're stacking left leg on top of right leg, bringing the right knee down if it feels a little bit more approachable. Either way, it's the same pose. 1 more full inhale. And exhale, set your left hand down. Feet are on the floor, optional vinyasa, or downward facing dog for 3 breaths. And let's do the second side. Inhale, lift the right leg up and back. And same work, 3 times. Bend the knee. Feel your left hip, draw your left hip back and in. So the left leg's going to stay in down dog. And then exhale, draw the right knee in towards the chest, in towards the ribs, the belly. And then push the knee out away from you. Draw the knee up to the ceiling and then draw it back into the chest. Circle it out. Draw it in. And then do the opposite direction. Knee up and back. Roll it out to the side, in towards the belly. Last 2. And re-extend the leg, big inhale. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest, step the foot through. And rise into your fingertips, big inhale. Exhale, set the back knee down to the mat. So same work, rising up, low lunge, bring your hands to heart center. Feel the legs, try to draw them in towards one another. Big inhale here, lifting your chest. And we'll do it 5 times. Exhale, twisting towards the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale to center. Exhale, twist. Last 2. Inhale. And then exhale, twisting, extend the arms out wide. Spin the palms to face up, big inhale. Exhale, set your left hand down, staying in the twist. Again, tuck the back toes, lift the back thigh. And again, choose. Wiggle the foot down the mat, turn the toes out. It might be a lot, it might be a little. Roll onto the outer edge of the back foot. Again, pushing down through your left hand, guiding that left shoulder blade down the back, towards the hip. Big inhale. Look toward your back right foot, bring the outer left hip down to hover, extend the right hand back. And then exhale, lift, reach the arm up and over. Again, bring it down, lift it up. Bring it down, really feel your side bodies doing the lifting versus your hand and your foot. And then stay here or take right leg on top of left leg, side plank, maybe left knee down to the mat, right foot extending back. Last big inhale. And exhale, set the right hand down, come back to plank. And again, optional vinyasa, coming into the half push-up, maybe all the way to the floor. Cobra with the hips heavy, or up dog. Downward facing dog, hips up and back. Feeling warmed up, yogis? One more breath here. And looking forward, bend your knees. Either step or hop your feet outside of your hands for Malasana squat. So as your Malasana squat, really pushing out through the inner thighs. Turn here, get a little bit more of a view. So you're pushing the inner thighs out. You can guide the outer arms into the inner thighs, pushing palms into one another. You can also push the elbows into the tops of the knees, especially if you find your spine is rounding. It's really hard to hold yourself up in this shape. Either way, find what works for you. Give yourself 2 more breaths. I'm going to do the opposite of you here. Go ahead and bring your right hand down in front of your right foot, so it's probably off the mat. And then take your left hand tight, twisting open. Take a big inhale, draw your hips towards the center. And then exhale, soften into the twist. One more full inhale. And exhale, come back to center, palms together. So second side, extend the left hand off the mat. Arm is nice and straight. Push the back of that arm into the inner left thigh. Take your right hand high. Big inhale, roll the chest open. Exhale, where can you soften? There's always somewhere, and just a hint, it isn't always physical. Bring the hands back to heart center, big inhale. And then choosing on your exhale, you're going to set the hands down and come right into down dog. You might take some water. If you want to work into crow pose today, shift your weight forward, lift your chest slightly higher. Okay, so the feet are on the floor. Now as you shift the weight forward, right, so the balls of the feet, so you're lifting the heels. Bring your hands down, and the hands are maybe shoulder width. Now it helps sometimes just to turn the fingers out a little bit, at least in the beginning. Bend the elbows, shift the weight forward until you can feel your elbows are almost over the wrist. And then just bring the feet slightly closer. Round the spine, feel how your navel lifts, your tailbone kind of draws down. Take another big inhale here. And then on the exhale, continue to shift the weight forward. You might rise into crow pose, bakasana. You can always use a block for your forehead. Hugging the heels up and in. Holding this pose for 3 more breaths. And step or float the feet back. Optional vinyasa or downward facing dog. If you're drinking some water, towel off. We'll come back in a moment. And if you haven't already, set your knees down. Take a sip of water. Shake out the arms, anything you need. Just take a moment to come back to your breath. So about 30 minutes in, we're going to continue now by working into some crescent lunges. We'll do it on each side, about 2 crescent lunges for each side. We'll then add on doing a Surya B and working through some warrior poses and some binds. So when you're ready, set your hands down, step the feet back, downward facing dog. Taking a big inhale, bend your knees, look forward. And then exhale, either step or float, top of the mat, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway, long spine. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, root to rise, swoop the arms up and over. Exhaling, palms to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Inhale, swoop the arms up and overhead. Exhale, sit the hips back and down, Utkatasana, chair pose. Try to soften the toes. And then feel those outer arms. Really try to spiral those outer arms, your elbows, your triceps into one another. The arms might go a little bit wider. That is perfectly fine. One more full inhale. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway, long spine. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop the feet back. Chaturanga Dandasana, the half push-up, cobra, or upward facing dog. Hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Let's start with the left leg. Inhale, lift the left leg up and back. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest, step the foot through the hands. Spin the back heel down. Bending into the front knee, rise up, warrior 1. And then notice where you can soften, where you might be overworking on the exhale. Take one more full inhale. And exhale, set your hands down, step the left foot back, downward facing dog. We're going to skip the vinyasa. Lift the right leg up and back. Exhale, hug the knee and step the foot through the hands. Same work, spin the back heel down, bending into the front knee. First warrior, warrior one. One more full inhale. And exhale, set the hands down, step the right foot back, down dog. Let's go right into up dog this time. So we're going to skip chaturanga. Shift forward to plank, inhale. On the exhale, let your hips shift forward towards your wrist, scoop your chest up, push down through the hands. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Bend your knees, look forward, big inhale. Exhale, step or float, top of the mat. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, press to stand, release the hands alongside the hips. Inhale, sweep the arms up and over. Exhale, fold it all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop the feet back. Again, optional vinyasa or right into down dog for 3 breaths. Inhale, let's lift the right leg up and back. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest, step the foot through the hands. Rising up to crescent lunge. Notice the width of the legs. And then arms overhead. You got about 3 more breaths. If you want to add a little bit of a challenge for that back thigh, bend the knee, bring it down to hover. You can even bring the foot slightly closer, but it's the same work. Feel the feet dragging towards one another. Feel the hips hugging in towards one another at the same time. And exhale, set the hands down. Step the right foot back. Again, you can always choose to take the vinyasa. You can always choose to skip it and go right into downward facing dog. Let's do the second side. Lift the left leg up and back. Hug the knee in, step the foot through. Crescent lunge. So it can be a straight back leg. You can also bend the front knee. Again, feet dragging in towards one another, hips gently hugging the center. And set the hands down. Step the left foot back. Again, optional vinyasa. Or right into down dog for 3 breaths. Last time each side. Inhale, lift the right leg up and back. Exhale, hug the knee and step the foot through. Crescent lunge, big inhale. Exhale, set the hands down, step the right foot back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Really gently firming wrists and forearms into one another. Last side, lift the left leg. Exhale, hug it in, step it through. Crescent lunge. Next exhale, hands down, left foot back. Again, skip the vinyasa or take it. Different days mean different things. Hips up and back, downward facing dog. Give yourself 1 more breath. Let's get into some more standing poses, more standing work. Inhale, lift the right leg up and back. Exhale, hug the knee into the chest, step the foot through the hands. Spin the back heel down. If you have a block, maybe take a block inside your right ankle. Rise up to warrior 2. So we're going to bend the front knee, sweep the arms out wide. And then sensing your inner right thigh, can you push it out away from you? Notice that right glute. Can you turn on that right glute by trying to wrap that hip back and in? And notice how it pushes the thigh out for you. Right, rooting into the back and your heel. Look towards your back left hand. Spin the thumb to face down. Feel how the bicep rolls in. Bend the elbow. Guide that hand to the right low back or the outer hip. You might even guide it to the hip crease of the right thigh. Stretching the right arm out wide. Big inhale. Exhale, let's straighten the front leg. Keep the half bind. Flip your front palm. Reach up and back. And then exhale, let's shift forward. And as you shift forward, keep drawing that right hip back and in. Push the hip crease back. Extend your right hand down to the block. Now, if it's too much for you, release the left arm. It can go high to the ceiling. The hand can also come to the hip. But if you can keep it, regardless of where you're at. Roll the left side belly, the chest, up and away from the floor. Draw the right shoulder blade down the back. Last breath. Rebend your front knee. Come back to warrior two, shifting your block to the side. Flipping the front palm, reverse the warrior, big inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Chaturanga Dandasana, the half push-up. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog, hips up and back. Second side, lift your left leg up and back. Exhale, hug the knee and step the foot through. Same work, spin the back heel down, set up your block inside your ankle just in case, and roll open into warrior two. So again, let's do it with your left hand this time. Guide your left thumb toward your left hip crease so you can really feel it. And can you wrap that hip down and in? And notice how your right outer hip kind of rolled forward. Again, notice how your left knee kind of drawed out away from center. Arms out wide. Looking towards your backhand, spin that thumb to face down, bend the elbow, guiding the hand to the low back or that left hip. Again, rolling the right rib cage back, big inhale. Exhale, straighten the front leg. And flipping the front palm, reach up and back. So it's a bound, reverse warrior. And then exhale, keep pushing that left hip crease back, drawing that hip towards center. Hand to the block. Rolling the belly, the chest away from the floor. You can always modify by extending the right hand high or guiding the hand to the hip. Last 2 breaths. And slowly rebend again. Shift the block to the side, warrior two. Flipping the front palm, reverse. And exhaling, hands to the mat. Chaturanga or down dog. Cobra or upward facing dog. Hips up and back. Adho Mukha Svanasana, down dog. Let's do one more side. Inhale, lift the right leg up and back. Exhale, hug the knee and step the foot through the hands. Spin the back heel down. This time maybe set up the block outside your right ankle. Warrior two. Soften on the exhale. Spin your left thumb to face down. And maybe do that same work. Maybe guide the hand to the right low back or outer hip. And then this time bring your right form down toward your right thigh. Again, can you roll the left side of the body away from the floor? Can you lift up through heart center? Big inhale. Maybe guide your right hand down inside the ankle. Maybe guide your right hand down outside the ankle to the block. Again, keep rolling your chest up away from the floor. And then you can try this. This is optional. Stay here for 2 more breaths or straighten the right leg. Rebend that knee if the leg is straight. Walk your block or your right hand forward in space. Maybe bring the left foot slightly closer. Now you can always ditch the half bind. We're coming into half moon. As you shift the weight forward, again, feel that right outer hip draw to center. Push into the foot, lift to the inner left thigh. Again, roll the belly, the chest up away from the floor. And if you want to modify it, again, left hand high, maybe left hand to left hip. Maybe lifting your gaze for the last breath. Rebend that front knee. Let's come back into warrior two. Flipping the front palm, reverse the warrior. Skipping the vinyasa altogether. Plant the hands, step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Last side, lift the left leg up and back. Hug the knee and step the foot through the hands. Again, spin the back heel down. Warrior two, maybe with the block outside your ankle. Again, spinning the right thumb down and face to the floor. Take the hand to the left low back or outer hip. And on your exhale, hinging forward, draw that left hip crease back. Continue to bend into that front knee. Forearm to thigh, hand inside the ankle, or hand at the block. Do the same work. Roll the belly, that right shoulder up and away from the floor. Maybe for 2 breaths, you might straighten the front leg. And again, rebending. Shift the weight forward. You can always bring the right foot closer. And again, as you shift the weight forward, lifting the back and a right thigh, rolling the chest away from the floor, and really radiating out through the legs, radiating out through the shoulders, creating space. Again, you can always re-extend that arm, last breath, and come back down to warrior two. And flipping the front palm, reverse the warrior. And exhaling, take the hands to the mat. Optional vinyasa, I'm going to skip this one. Or downward facing dog for 3 breaths. Last breath. Before we get into our standing work, let's do this, into our standing balance. Let's do our nice big twist here. Go ahead and step your right foot forward through your hands. And then bring your left foot up just a foot's distance. Now, if you're pretty tight in this direction, you might find your 2 blocks, your Tupperware to create more height. Right? If not, straighten the front leg. Fingertips can be on the floor. As you straighten that front leg, draw that outer right hip back and in towards the left heel. Send heart center forward in space. Big inhale. And exhale, bring your hands to your hips. Let's rise up all the way to stand. And then just observe your pelvis. Sometimes we kind of roll in one direction. It's not a bad thing, but can you again draw that right outer hip back and in? Does it roll your left hip forward for you? Big inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, soften the shoulders. Reach your left hand forward, spin the palm in, roll the elbow in, extend that arm overhead. Big inhale. And then exhale, begin to hinge forward about halfway. Again, feel that outer right hip drawing back, and even as you fold, you'll feel the weight shifts the further you go. Big inhale. Exhale, bring the left hand down to the block or the floor. And then go ahead and extend the right arm out towards the right wall. Drawing the shoulder blades down the back. Big inhale. Exhale, push into the hand, roll open away from the floor. Coming right into your revolved triangle. Notice that outer right hip, rooting into that back inner heel. And then really feeling that back foot. Can you feel like you could lift the inner arch to the outer arch? The inner part of the foot to the outer part of the foot. That back left foot. Big inhale. Exhale, bring the right hand down, step the left foot back into a lunge. And pause. Got one more inhale. Exhale, ground your palm, step the right foot back, downward facing dog. Let's do the second side. Just step the left foot through your hands. And let's step the right foot up 1 foot's distance. Again, find your blocks. Fingertips on the floor. Straighten the front leg. Feel that outer hip move back and in. Notice what it does for the right leg, the right hip. Lift your chest, big inhale. Hands to hips. Rise up all the way to stand. And again, be curious with the difference from side to side without having to judge the difference, without having to judge your body. All right, it is what it is. We learn, we grow, we do our best to move with the change. Big inhale, take your right hand forward, spin the pinky, the elbow in, extend the arm up and over. Full inhale. Exhale, begin to hinge forward about halfway. And just notice if one hip does a little bit more work than the other. Again, coax that outer hip back and in. Bring the right hand down to the block or the mat. And then really lengthen your spine. Reach heart center forward in space. Glide the shoulder blades back. Reach your left arm out towards the left wall. Take a big inhale. And exhale, push into the hand, twist open. If you're at home and you're thinking to yourself, this is a difficult pose, you are correct. It is definitely a hard pose, and I think it's hard for most of us. And slowly bring your left hand down, bend the front knee. Step the right foot back into a lunge. Pausing here, big inhale. And exhale, shift your blocks to the side. Step the left foot back. Downward facing dog. Pedal the feet. We're about to use your strap here. Bend your knees, look forward. Step or hop, top of the mat. Find your strap. Go ahead and rise up to stand. And as you rise up to stand, take your strap over the ball of your right foot. And I'm going to do the opposite of you again so that I'm mirroring you. It looks like we're doing the same thing. So go ahead and bend your right knee, lift the foot up and away from the floor. And then try to bring your hand a little bit closer to the foot so your hand's still on the strap. Now from here, lift your chest, take a big inhale, and then notice that right hip. On the exhale, can you draw that right hip down toward your left heel, that outer hip down toward your left heel? Can you then hug your right hip to center at the same time? So you're doing, the outer right hip is rolling down, the left hip is hugging in, and together they create stability, right? So find the balance of those two actions, and then go ahead and try your best. Keep the knee bent as is, or bring the foot forward in front of you like you're doing a lunge, standing. So if you remember, we were on our back in the beginning of the practice, and we had one knee bent out to the side, one leg straight, basically kind of doing this shape. Now, from here, you're going to choose, keep the knee bent, perfectly fine, or straighten the leg. Reach your left arm out. Think about your hip points pointing forward in space. And you'll feel the more that right leg goes back, the more that left hip has to work harder to bring you back to center. If you have the leg slightly forward in front of you, it probably makes it easier for that outer hip. One more breath. And bring that right leg back in front of you. This time we'll keep the leg straight. And release. So bringing the strap over your left foot. Bending the knee, lift the foot. And you can always take the hand closer to the ankle and lifting your chest. Feel that left hip. Can you draw the outer left hip down towards that right heel? And then at the same time, feel the outer right hip. Can you hug it to center? Notice how it kind of levels you off. Big inhale. Bring the foot forward in front of you, the knee still bent. So this is progression A, we'll call it. B would be to straighten. Instead of thinking about the leg going further back, you think about the leg moving a little bit higher, again, as that left hip softens to the floor. Reach out through the right hand. Last 2 breaths. And rebend and release. Just your strap, place it on the side. Give yourself a moment here just to stand tall. Let your palms rest alongside your hips. Close the eyes. Anjali Mudra if you prefer. Just come back to your breath. Notice your focus. Notice your mind now. And wherever you have been or wherever you are going, can you come back to this moment, to your breath? Take a big inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale, fold it all the way down. Inhale, lengthen, lift up halfway, long spine. Exhale, plant your hands, step the feet back, plank. Pausing in your plank, take a big inhale. Exhale, bring your forearms down to the mat. All right. So you're now in a forearm plank. Push down through the arms, push the mat away from you. Lift your chest, lift your navel, and then really push down through your toes so you can feel the kneecaps are lifting, the quads are firming, the glutes are on. Last breath. And bring the pelvis all the way down. All right, pushing down through your forearms, lift your sternum, lift your chest. And on the exhale, let's bring the chest all the way down. Bring the hands back alongside the hips. Pushing down through your fingernails to the tops of the hands, pushing down through the toenails, the tops of the feet. Lift your chest, lift the shoulders. Gently draw the chin in towards the neck. Take one more full inhale. And exhale, now lift your legs, just an inch or so. Lengthen through the legs, reach through the heels. Big inhale, chest forward. Exhale, lift the hands, lift the arms. Can you drag the shoulder blades down the back by reaching your hands toward your heels? One more full inhale. And exhale, come all the way down. Maybe resting a cheek on the mat, your forehead on your palms. And doing that same thing or doing 2.0. Lift yourself up, push into your hands, lift your chest. Bend your knees, reaching the hands back towards the outer ankles or the shins. Wiggle the knees in slightly closer to start. Push the ankles out away from one another. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, draw the feet back. Lift your chest, scooping on up. And you can feel you can't breathe into the belly, but you can breathe into the chest. You can breathe into the collarbone area, the armpit area, the backside body. Last 2 breaths. And come all the way down. Let's come right back into round 2 now. Same work. You might have the hands on the floor, lifting the arms and legs, kicking the feet back into the hands, scoop up. About 2 more breaths, keeping the breath steady. And release all the way down. And last one. So again, lifting yourself back up, reach the hands towards the outer ankles. If you want to play with it, maybe take the hands to the inner ankles this time. Bringing the knees a little bit closer in, take a big inhale. And then on the exhale, kick the feet back, lifting the chest. Last breath. And come all the way down. Before we work into some half pigeons, some 90-90s today, we're going to stretch your pec minor here a little bit into your chest. So go and bring your left arm out to the side, bend the elbow. And then with that elbow bent, try to line the elbow with your shoulder, push the arm down, rise to your right fingertips. Right? Bending your right knee, I'm going to do the opposite of you. Bending your right knee, roll the knee up, roll the foot up to the ceiling so the hip's going to roll away from the floor. And then you're feeling that stretch across the left side of the chest. You can keep the right knee bent. You can also straighten the leg. You can also place the foot on the mat. One more breath. And releasing, come to your belly. Take your right arm out to the side, bend the right elbow. And rising to your left fingertips, bend the right knee. And then roll that knee up and back. One more breath here. And find your way to your belly. Releasing, bring the hands back beneath the elbows, tuck your toes, push yourself into all fours. So before we go into half pigeon and do some 90-90s, if you're not familiar, don't worry, you'll learn. That would work into an inversion here. So find the block. If you do have one at home, take it between your palms. It's optional. Let your fingers run long. And then find your way into forearm plank. All right, then from forearm plank, really pushing down to the arms, lift the navel, feel the length of the spine. So they walk your feet forward, we're going to come into dolphin. So take some smaller steps to start off with, add a little bend to the knees. Lift your pelvis up and back, and then really reaching through the arms. Wrap your triceps back toward your heels. Push the thighs up and away from the floor. Last 2 to 3 breaths. And set the knees down and rest. And if you prefer, sit the hips to the heels, sitting on up. And round 2. Shift forward. This time we'll lift one leg. Come into your forearm plank. Pushing down through the arms. Start to walk the feet forward. Coming into dolphin. And starting with your left leg, lift the left leg up and back. Feel your right hip, keep drawing that outer right hip back and in. One more full inhale, and exhale, bring the foot down and rest. Just one breath in between. And coming right back into it, forearm plank. Walk the feet forward, dolphin. And lift the right leg if you lifted the left leg, second side. You'll feel that sometimes when we try to overlift with the leg, the hips kind of roll open. Can you have the leg high enough and then really work on, again, drawing that outer left hip back and into center. So you're really pushing that left thigh up and away from the floor, and it's doing a lot of the work for you right now, that outer left hip. Bring the foot down, set the knees down. Child's pose or hips to heels. And so you'll do one more. If you're not keen on going into inversions, but you do want to get the feeling of the inversion, this is enough here. But if you prefer doing a wide-legged fold, bringing your feet wide, folding over your legs, having the hands on the mat, bending the elbows is always a good option. All right? And if not, final dolphin. Or final inversion here, maybe working into forearm stand. I demoed this a few weeks ago, but you can always use your wall. Coming up to the wall, plant the forearms down, find your dolphin. As you find your dolphin, wiggle the feet a little bit closer, bend the knees, lift one leg high, take a big inhale, keep that leg long, bring the toes down to tap the floor, and then pushing down to the arms. Exhale, lift the legs, lift the hips up and over. And then using your eyes, you can always bring the chin in towards the chest, looking up. If you can see your right toes, you can sense that that leg is over you. Bring in the other leg in, so the legs now hugging towards one another, rooting through the arms. Wherever you're at, last breath or so. And come down slowly. Bring one foot down. Take child's pose. And shift forward, come to a seat. And I'm going to turn on my mat. If you want to stay on your mat, you might take a quarter turn to the left. Then go ahead and bend your knees. Bring your heels just right in front of your hips. And this is a good place to start. All right, wiggle the feet a little bit wider, so maybe now the heels are knee width. And then taking a big inhale here, lift your chest. And then on the exhale, roll your knees to the right. So in this case, for me, it's the front of the mat. Roll your right knee out, roll your left knee in. Awesome. This is called the 90-90. You're on your heels, roll your knees up and over to the back of the mat. Sound effects if they help you. Come back to the front of the mat. Continue. Left. Right. Left. Right. One more going to the left. And then we'll add on. So we'll do this on each side now. Roll the knees over towards the right. Pushing down into your right knee. Try your best. Try to lift that right leg up and away from the floor. Awesome. Do it with your left knee now. It should be easier. Push into your knee. Try to lift the heel away from the floor. Awesome. Now pushing into your heel, into the inner arch of the foot, just lift the knee up and away from you and just feel how far can you go without changing your right leg. So this is external rotation. Come back, do it again. Push it away from you. Come back. Shift the weight towards the right knee. Try to lift that right leg. Come back. Swivel the knees over towards the back. Same thing. Try to push. Try to lift this right heel away from the floor. Bring it down. Try to lift the right. This one should be much easier. Bring it down. And then same thing. Push into the inner arch. Roll the knee up and away from you. Bring it down. Roll it away from you. Bring it down. Come back to the first side. And let's just do that 5 times on the left leg. We're going to push through the knee, lift the leg, bring it down. Push through the knee, lift the heel, bring it down. Last 3, 2, 1. Push into the inner arch, draw the knee up and away from you, bring it down. Up and away from you, bring it down. Last 3, 2, 1. Swivel the legs over towards the back of the mat. 5 times. Push into your right knee, lift the heel. 4, 3, 2, 1. Push into the inner arch, roll the knee up and away from you, bring it down. Up and away from you, bring it down. Last 3, 2, 1. Roll the knees forward, set your hands down. From here, pushing into your left toes, wiggle the right knee slightly wider than your hip, so it might be the width of your wrist. And bring the outer hip down, wiggling the left knee further back. So this is half pigeon. You can always do this on your back, thread the needle. If you have a block, take it outside your outer right hip. Pushing into your fingertips, lift your chest, take a big inhale. And then on the exhale, walk your fingertips forward, possibly off the mat. Pushing into your fingertips, wrap the elbows in, lift your chest, take a big inhale. And then exhale, maybe walk the fingertips a little bit further forward. And pushing into the fingertips, walk the hands back in. Shifting the block to the side, roll to your outer right hip. Shifting the weight towards that right leg, lift your left leg, swing the leg forward. You're going to step the foot outside of your right knee. From here, wiggle your hips in so your hips are on the mat. If this is too much for you, simply extend the bottom right leg, twisting from here today instead. All right, guiding the left hand behind you, thread your right arm around your left shin to start. Take a big inhale here, lift your chest. And then exhale, softening into the twist. Every inhale creating length and lift. Every exhale rooting down through your thighs. And really feel you can get longer from that left hip all the way up towards that left armpit. Last breath. And releasing. Again, shift the weight forward towards the right leg. Swinging the left foot back, plant your hands down, shift into down dog. Step your left foot forward towards your left hand and then wiggle the foot over towards the right wrist. Again, bringing the outer thigh, the outer hip down, half pigeon. Again, always knowing you can take thread the needle doing this on your back. Again, guiding the block outside that outer hip if it's useful. Knowing that your shin does not have to be parallel with the top of the mat, but do feel that outer hip wrapping back and in. Do feel that right hip releasing towards the floor. Walking the fingertips forward. Take a big inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, maybe walking the fingers a little bit further forward. And trying that same work with the arms. Wrap the elbows in. And let the spine be heavy. And pushing into the fingertips, walk the hands in. Again, remove your block, bringing that outer hip down. Let's do that same work. Lift your right leg, swing it forward, bringing the foot outside your left knee. Again, if it's too much to get that right hip down towards the mat, just simply extend the bottom leg. And I'll demo with the bottom leg straight on this side. Take the right hand behind you. Reach your left hand forward. Big inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, thread that arm around the shin. Again, big inhale, lifting, rooting down through the thighs. Exhale, soften to the twist, widening across the collarbones, the shoulders. Last 2 breaths. And releasing. This time we're going to extend the bottom leg, bring the right leg forward, so both legs are forward in front of you. Take a big inhale here, draw the toes back towards you, pushing down through your thighs, your heels. And then exhale, begin to walk the hands forward, folding over your thighs. Really reaching heart center forward in space, softening the shoulder blades down the back. And rooting into the heels, lift yourself back up. Go ahead and bend your knees, coming onto our backs. If you have a block and you want to bring it with you for restorative bridge today, bring it on with you. Now find your way to your back. Wiggle the feet in, so the feet might be hip width. They can always be slightly wider. They could be underneath the knees. They could also be slightly forward in front of the knees. What I'm really saying is, try to find what works just right for you, because it may not be the same as me. Rooting into the feet. Try to hug your heels towards your hips. You're going to feel the backs of the thighs and the glutes kind of start to awaken. Rooting into the feet and the arms. Lift the pelvis on the exhale. Again, you're pushing into the heels. You're drawing the heels back towards the hips. And then sense the more the arms push down, the more the shoulder blades tend to lift the chest up and back. Last big inhale. And coming all the way down. Wiggle the feet a little bit wider. Let your knees roll in. Ending with a little bit of yoga caffeine, aka some back bends. And bring the feet back to hip width. And same work, rooting down through the heels, rooting down through the arms. Take a big inhale. Exhale. Lift the hips, tone the glutes. Maybe this time guiding your hands beneath the pelvis, the back, interlace the fingers, wiggle the shoulder heads further down the back. Really getting on the very top of the arms. And last 3 breaths. And full inhale. And come all the way down, releasing the hands first. And soften. And choosing yogi as a final bridge or final wheel. If you're working into wheel, rising into bridge first, lifting the pelvis. Guiding the hands over the shoulders, fingers facing down toward your heels. Wrap your elbows in, big inhale. And then exhale, rising to the top of the head. Walking the hands slightly further back and recommit to wrapping the elbows in, pushing through hands and feet. Last 2 breaths. And starting to come all the way down. And wiggle the feet a little bit wider, let your knees roll in. This time, if you'd like, extend your hands high to the ceiling, big inhale. And exhale, give yourself a hug here, reaching for opposite shoulder or shoulder blade. Give them a little pull, drawing them away from one another, getting some space across the upper back. And release the arms, maybe switch the cross, doing the same thing. So again, you're trying to create width across your back by drawing the shoulder blades, the shoulder heads away from the back. So you're drawing them up towards the ceiling. And release. Bend the elbows out wide. And one more full inhale. And exhale, draw the knees wide, hands on shins. And ending with a little bit of love here for the core. Curl the knees into the chest, round the spine. Feel your tailbone lifting away from the floor. Draw your knees over your hips. And keeping your neck soft, reach the hands up to the ceiling, soften the shoulders. So the low back is pushing into the floor, the tailbone is gently tucking. Bring your left heel down and tap the floor. These are dead bugs. Bring the leg back up. Bring the right leg down and tap the floor. Bring the knee back up. All right, add on by straightening the left leg, reaching the left arm forward, right arm overhead. Come back. Continue. Come back. Last 8 on each side. 16. 15. 14. Soft neck. 13. 12. 11. 10. 9. 8. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Draw the knees in, gently rocking side to side across the low back, the sacrum. If you'd like a final twist here, roll the knees over to the right, bend the elbows out wide. And one more full inhale. And roll the knees up and over to the second side. And just surrendering into the twist. Coming back to your breath. And full inhale. You can always stay longer. Find your way to your back. Draw the knees wide one last time, hands on shins. Maybe a full happy baby if you prefer it. And bringing your feet to the floor, let your knees go out wide. If you have blocks or pillows, maybe taking them outside of your thighs. Soften the shoulders, drawing them down the back. And just simply returning to your breath, bringing your awareness and your focus back to the breath. Knowing that your mind may wander from time to time. That's normal, you're human. Just simply observe when your mind wanders and try your best to mindfully come back to the breath. Keeping the knees wide or sliding the legs straight. Letting your legs plop. And with every exhale, can you continue to soften into the mat? Letting the shoulders, the hips, the thighs soften. And if you have time to linger in Shavasana today, staying here a little bit longer, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, now taking your time to stretch out through the fingers, your toes, guiding your palms to heart center. And as you find a final Anjali Mudra, being honest, what can you take with you and what can you leave behind? Knowing that in yoga, there is nothing wrong with where you are, the work is always learning to accept where we're at. Knowing you are loved, namaste.